global audience.
Morning viewers, yes, it's another beautiful day here in the Federal Capital Territory. We're reaching you live from our SRTV studio here in Abuja. My name is Princess KESSY and this is Wake Up Nigeria. I have with me today,
as usual.
Before we move forward, viewers, happy birthday, Patience.
Thank you.
God bless you. God keep you.
Thank you. Thank
You're
you
looking
so
beautiful today, I guess, because it's your birthday. So where is the turn up at later?
They should come to the studio.
Hey, happy birthday.
Thank you so
We
much.
wish you well from the SRTV crew and everybody. We say happy birthday. We'll turn up later.
Yes, sir.
But work first. Yes, viewers, it's her birthday today. We can't help but celebrate her. And we have a lot of trendy stories. We saw the tribunal yesterday. It was drama and a lot of trendy stories. But we're going to, later on the show, we're going to bring in a guest to discuss on some of these issues. But we're going to kickstart now with the reviews of the papers. And I'm going to start with the Guardian newspaper. These are some of the stories coming from the Guardian. And the big story here says, discontent as aspirants, minority caucus reject Akpabio Abbas. That story is on page 6 of the Guardian newspaper. We have a story here that says criminality of jungle justice, trial by ordeal, an imperative of swift punishment for offenders. That is the rider. And then we'll have a story here that says technicalities, time wasting won't be entertained. PEPC wants Atiku Obi Tinubu's lawyers. And that story is on page 6 of the Guardian newspaper. We also have a story here that says reconciliation not mentioned during Obi's visit. Soyinka clarifies, and that story it's on page 3 of the Guardian newspaper. We also have a story here that says tight security as Supreme Court rules on Adeleke Oyetola's case today. That story is on page 7 of the Guardian newspaper. Now, these are all the stories we have coming from the Guardian newspaper this morning.
You know, as of yesterday, Princess, this reconciliation not mentioned during Obi's visit. I think I saw it at the front page of a newspaper, Wole Soyinka and Obi, and I was like, politics indeed. I thought these two people are having
and all of a sudden, they were close, hugging, laughing, smiling.
All of a sudden, I'm seeing them on newspaper together. You understand? Well, it's sad that they did not get to reconcile. I wonder what Obi went to visit him for then.
But that is an I see Soyinka as an elder statesman.
Yes.
So if somebody, no matter what, whether is against you or you're against him, somebody at some point you should pay respect to.
So, yeah.
And I bet that was what Obi did.
Okay.
And then we move on quickly now to the
next newspaper.
And I don't know why Akpabio is being rejected though, but I'll leave that issue for our political desk people to discuss. Yes. And then we move quickly to the next newspaper we have.
And so coming from the Punch newspaper this morning, the big headline here says, Tribunal Tinubu Atiku Obi's legal battle commence. And the writer here says, PDP APM's petition pre-hearing hold today. LP Obi's case Wednesday. Tribunal wants lawyer, says those who deserve justice will get it. You find that story on page 2 and 3 of the Punch newspaper this morning. We also have a story here that says National Assembly, APC picks Akpabio Abbas. You find that story on page 2 of the Punch newspaper this morning. And we also have a story that says high duty vehicle imports crash by 128%. We also have a story, Obi visits not about reconciliation, Soyinka. You find that story on page 19 of the Punch newspaper this morning. Osinbajo presents this discharge certificate to Transcorp Power. We also have a story this morning that says Adeleke Oyetola hopeful as Supreme Court delivers judgment today. You find that story on page 15 of the Punch newspaper this morning. Bandits kidnap 40 Kaduna worshippers, 9 Emir children. You find that story on page 19 of the Punch newspaper this morning. Federal government plans rescue of Nigerian domestic workers. in Iraq. You find that story on page 15 of the Punch newspaper this morning. Those are the story making waves
I think
this
I love
morning.
the story. Federal government plans to rescue Nigerian
Domestic
domestic workers
workers
in
in
Iraq.
yeah.
Please, they should come home. It couldn't be that bad as at the time they
Yes,
left, maybe, but they should just come
come
back
back
home.
home. Their
Things
life
no,
is very
no matter
important.
how the country is, there's no place like home.
Home.
You're peaceful, you are free. Oh, you know, in this country, you can just
Yes.
you can go anywhere. You can just do anything. Nobody will come and harass you. Nobody will come and intimidate you,
Yeah,
molest
you're
you.
free. It's your
So
home.
it's better they
No
come
matter
home.
how it is.
And then I have this story here as well that really caught my attention, and I'm happy this story is coming today because I have a guest later on my next show to discuss some issues like this. High duty vehicle imports crash by 128%. Why not? When duties, somebody will buy a car. For instance, you buy a car in the US as low as if you buy a damaged car, for instance, as low as 500,000, and then shipping is like maybe 200, 300,000. It's never up to 1 million.
Yeah.
You now bring the car, or maybe taking from the maybe bidding ground in the US, for instance, to the port there, and then everything is not to 1 million. You will not come to Nigeria, and they will not start clearing that car for 1 point something, car that is not even worth how much. Tell me why people will want to go and buy car or import cars. These are the issues.
It's actually a very big one, and it's good you're having that.
Yes, so I have a guess as regards to that, because yesterday I got thinking, because somebody was asking me, you know me, I'm into different business. Somebody was asking me, are you no longer doing car business? I say, which car business? Can you clear cars? You come and buy car, how much? They will tell you when the car gets to Nigeria to clear it is 2 point something million. Meanwhile, if you don't clear it, it's problem. Do more if you start insurance, start counting. At the end of the day, maybe you might just lose the car. So these are the issues. Anyway.
Okay, this story here that says bandits kidnap 40 Kaduna worshippers, 9
It's really sad. It's really sad.
It's a sad one.
It's sad. Kaduna again,
and worshippers. I think the Christian Association needs to stand up and work.
Not just them, even the Muslim. They should, all religious leaders should come together, have a meeting, and see the best way to resolve this. That place is not peaceful at all. Anyway, we move on quickly now to the next newspaper we have, and that would be the Daily Trust. These are some of the stories we have coming from Daily Trust this morning. We have here tribunal to lawyers, parties, we must consider Nigerians' peace. And the writer says, here's Atiku's petition today, obese tomorrow, AAC's case dismissed. And Lalong bar from representing Tinubu. All the stories on page 4 of the Daily Trust newspaper. We also have a story here that says reps reject NCC's 700 billion request to close coverage gap. That story is on page 5 of the Daily Trust newspaper. We also have a story here that says Jais banks post 9.9 billion earnings in first quarter, and that story is on page 19 of the Daily Trust newspaper. We also have a story here that says Osun governorship. SAT's Supreme Court decide Adeleke Oyetola's fate today, and that story is on page 11 of the Daily Trust newspaper. We also have a story here that says government invade Kagako Emir's house, adopt 7 grandchildren, 6 others, and that story is on page 17 of the Daily Trust newspaper. We also have a story here that says ahead of commissioning, Dangote says Nigerian to gain 20 billion from refinery, and that story is on page 20 of the Daily Trust newspaper. A story here also says Media Trust appoints Mudaso as Deputy General Editor, and that story is on page 4 of the Daily Trust newspaper this morning. We also have a story here that says APC National Working Committee ratifies Tinubu's candidate Akpabio for Senate, Abbas Speaker, and that story it's on page 10 of the Daily Trust. These are all the stories we have coming from Daily Trust this morning.
And I think the headline is a very catchy one, it's a good one. Tribunals to lawyers, parties, we must consider Nigerian peace. Very, very important. Because without peace, there will be problem. We could see the Sudan and the accused, how they come here, they are coming back. They kept praying that Nigeria will never experience
anything like war.
So it's
not
very, very important.
I don't think it's for the faint-hearted though. So we should not.
Yeah, actually.
Anyway, we'll move on quickly to the next newspaper we'll have.
So the next newspaper this morning, we're coming from this Nigerian newspaper. The big headline here says APC OK South Akpabio for Senate President. The rider here says zones Deputy Senate President Speaker to Northwest as Southeast gets Deputy Speaker. We also have a rider here that says senators elect reject imposition, insist on electing presiding officers. Kalu Izonaso vow to run. You'll find that story on page 4 of this Nigerian newspaper this morning. We also have a story here that says Nigerian forex inflow dropped to $613.80 million in April, lowest in 1 year. You find that story on page 17 of this Nigerian newspaper this morning. We also have a story here that says Osun Gubernator Adeleke Oyetola no fate today as Supreme Court rules. You find that story on page 13 of this Nigerian newspaper. Wike, INEC conducted better election in 2023. You find that story also on page 13 of this Nigerian newspaper. Alleged 6.9 billion naira fraud. Absence of Obaniko stays Fayose trial. You'll find that story on page 20 of this Nigerian newspaper this morning. From Sudan with joy and tears. You find that story also on the front page of this Nigerian. Tribunal suspends hearing till May 10th. Obi orders storm court as Atiku PDP seek live broadcast of proceedings. You find that story on page 12 of this Nigerian newspaper this morning. I think those are the story making waves this morning from this Nigerian. And I think I like this headline that says Obi other storm court as Atiku PDP seek live broadcast. I feel it to be clear. If they do it open, it should be an open something. Let's see how the tribunals are going about this thing. People should be able to witness. We know people will be convinced and satisfied with whatever the latter end of it may be. People will be satisfied because it was actually a live, it was an open
process.
Yeah.
And then I saw a story with joy and tears from Sudan. Oh my God, my heart is so broken, but we're happy. I know a lot of people have lost a lot of things, but thank God for life. And then a story also, Wike saying that 2023 election, INEC conducted the best election.
Are you serious? If you ask me, I don't think I
don't share that opinion.
I don't get it.
But anyway, he's entitled to his opinion. We move on quickly now to the next newspaper we have. That will be coming from the Nigerian Pilot. Now, these are some of the stories we have. The headline here is say Presidential Election Tribunal no to technicalities, and the right that says chairman of PEPC Justice Haruna Tasmani says panel won't entertain technicalities, delays, charge cancelled to avoid making sensational comments and sensational comments as interest of country is paramount. Lead counsel to pledged to cooperate. And there's another rider here that says panel hears application for live streaming of sitting today. And all these stories are on page 8 of the Nigerian Pilot newspaper. We also have a story here that says APC confirms Akpabio Abbas as Senate President Speaker candidates on page 5 of the Nigerian Pilot. Also, there's a story here that says Anambra INEC had org workers to protest non-payment of allowance on page 6 of the Nigerian Pilot newspaper. As well, we have a story here that says IPOB declares May 30th sit at home for Biafra's fallen heroes. And that story is on page 6 of the Nigerian Pilot newspaper. We also have a story here that says FCTA warns non-indigens against inscribing baggy house on illegal houses. That story is on page 5 of the Nigerian Pilot newspaper. I will have another story here that says Atiku PDP wants live broadcast of presidential tribunal proceedings, and that story is on page 6 of the Nigerian Pilot newspaper. As well, we have a story here that says bandits kidnapped 40 worshippers during Kaduna church service. And that story is on page 7 of the Nigerian Pilot newspaper. We also have a story here that says Obi Sultan orders hail Iwanyawo's emergence as Ohanese's PG, and that story is on page 9 of the Nigerian Pilot newspaper. We also have a story here that says Governor Fintiri swears in Adamawa's first female judge, and that story is on page 9 of the Nigerian Pilot newspaper. As well, a story here that says Supreme Court delivers judgment in Oshunguba poll today. That story is on page 7 of the Nigerian Pilot newspaper. Now, these are all the stories we have coming from the Nigerian Pilot newspaper. I love the story. Governor Fintiri swears in Adamawa first female church. That is so lovely.
Seriously, it's a good one for the women out there in Nigeria.
I love that story. I love that move. Congratulations to that church. And then we have a story here also that say FCTA warns non-indigens against inscribing bagging houses on illegal houses. And then yes, we also have a story here that says do you know Ababio? I remember then Akpabio was a strong just like Wike in PDP.
Yes, now.
And then something happened. He left. And Oshomole made the comment then that we don't care whether Akpabio is corrupt, whether Akpabio is from PDP. The moment you leave that PDP evil party and come to their party, your sins are forgiven. And then even that news trend was trending then. Well, I don't know how long, but he said your sins are. We now say, okay, so people are God now that forgive sins now.
And now I don't.
So we don't care how bad these people they are, bad their records are, just because they join your party. That automatically means that they are clean, and that is why sometimes I feel like the security agencies are not doing enough. So because this person now belongs to APC, you don't want to checkmate them again because you feel like they are the ruling party.
Okay, now check what is happening to him. That's politics for you.
Anyway, we move on quickly to the next newspaper we have.
This morning coming from First News. The big headline here says, battle to stop Tinubu, justice will be served, tribunal assures. And then the writer here says, here's PDP, APM's petition Tuesday, Obi APP's Wednesday, as AA withdraws petition against Tinubu, as judge calls on lawyers to avoid technicalities. You find that story on the front page of the First newspaper this morning. We also have a story here that says Osun Supreme Court delivers judgment in Adeleke Oyetola governor seat battle Tuesday. I think that's today. And then we also have a story here that says Senate President, APC National Working Committee settles for Akpabio, Darun, Abbas, and Kalu. You find that story also on the front page of First newspaper this morning. We also have a story here that says Dizani files suit seeking to vacate bench warrant against her. We also have a bandit kidnap Kaduna monarch wife, children, kill herdsmen. 10th NAS, Tinubu asked me to withdraw for Akpabio. Umahi says, my colleague will decide Akpabio. You find that story also on the front page of First newspaper this morning. We have a story also here that says Southeast Group to Presidential Election Tribunal. The world is watching. Coming from Southeast Group this morning. We also have a story here that says insertion of reconciliation into reports about Obi's visit, most inappropriate, diversionary, Soyinka. You'll find that story also on First newspaper this morning. Veteran journalist emerged president of Yoruba community in Bauchi. You also find that story on the front page of First newspaper this morning. I think those are the story making waves coming from First News. And I like this one that says the world is watching.
Watching. That was the first news that caught my attention.
Yeah.
Indeed, the world is watching. So whatever the tribunal needs to do or whatever they're doing, they should know that the world is watching. And then I will move on quickly this morning to the next newspaper. That will be the blueprints. These are some of the stories we have. The main headline here says 10th NAS leadership, Betari, Doguwa, Kalu, Musa lose out to APC zoning. And the rider here says Akpabio, Baru, Abbas, Ben Kalu gets party's nod. Another rider says North Central lawmakers, Southeast senators elect, pro-Yaro group protests. And the last rider says that senators elect to decide who leads them. Musa, all the stories on page 6 of the Blueprint newspaper. We also have a story here that says man arrested for beating wife to coma in Ondo. And that story is on page 15 of the Blueprint newspaper. We also have a story here that says tribunal adjourns Obi's petition to Wednesday once on technicalities. Atiku, PDP insists on live broadcast of proceedings. And that these stories on page 6 of the Blueprint newspaper. We also have a story here that says Naira's scarcity, inflation, reasons for rise in operating costs. Companies, and that story is on page 23 of the Blueprint newspaper. We also have a story here that says mass air online airline owners NCAA condemn media reports, begin probe, and that story is on page 22 of the Blueprint newspaper. Also have a story here that says drama as soldiers invade NDLA office in Jigawa, and that story is on page 8 of the Blueprint newspaper. We also have a story here that says RMRDC awards secondary schools with cash and material items at quiz competition, and that story is on page 18 of the Blueprint newspaper. These are all the stories we have coming from Blueprint this morning.
What's going on with we Nigerians with beating to coma? Just the other day we read that
The co-wife
beat her fellow to coma. Pregnant on Adamata. And today a man is beating his own wife again to coma.
Sometimes I wonder. I've never been married, so I can't say, but I wonder at what point do people that were in love that came together to live together for the rest of their lives, that professed love,
to each other. And
at what point do they come to that place of you beating the same woman to beating her to a pulp, to coma, without feeling remorse, without pity, without that same love, small tiny one like this, just to say no, I still love this woman? At what point do people get
a very sensitive question. You treat romance and relationship. We should have a section like this.
I should. At what point the love just goes, that light just goes, not even dim, just goes off, and you think, okay, I'm no longer okay with this woman. This person irritates you, and you want to do this to them.
And they don't just beat. You beat to coma. That means the beating is.
What if something happened and this person die on the process? This is really sad. Please, married people out there, do better. You can do better.
Yeah, of course. And so we're
We know
taking,
that nothing is easy as well, because when we talk about relationship, marriage is another ball game.
yeah.
But sometimes, for the sake of the love you share, the feelings, please let peace reign. And then I can imagine drama as soldiers invade NDLA office in
Oh,
Jigawa.
I actually saw that. I don't know how it skipped my mind. I don't get it. NDLEA office in Jigawa. Why? What happened? I would like to see more of that story
Me
to
too.
see what really happened.
And these mass airline owners,
Mm.
NCAA condemn media reports, begin probe. I don't
I don't
understand.
get
Is
it.
this
Is it
something that media did not get right? Did they the
Max?
figures or the
That was during the crash. The
no,
plane that.
not crash. They crash landed.
Yes, the crash landed
Yes.
actually. Maybe they didn't get the figures. Maybe there's something we did not pick out of that.
Anyway, maybe the report was not well
Yeah.
orchestrated, and they didn't get the full details before a lot of media houses had to rush and publish.
Yeah.
Anyway, we'll move on quickly now to the next newspaper we'll have.
Okay, coming from Nigerian News Direct this morning, the big headline here says 10th Assembly Leadership, APC National Working Committee unsatisfied with Tinubu zoning formula. And then the writer here says seek consultation choice of Akpabio others. Southeast Senator kick. You find that story on page 2 of the Nigerian News Direct newspaper this morning. We also have a story. EFCC seek extradition of brothers, one other to US over child exploitation pornography. I'll take that again. EFCC seek extradition of brother, one other to US over child exploitation pornography. You find that story on page 4 of the Nigerian News Direct newspaper this morning. Osibanjo, Ahmed Loud, BPE, DG over routine evaluation, monitoring of public assets. You find that story on page 3 of the Nigerian News Direct newspaper this morning. Invest in maritime sector, NIMASA tells Nigerians in diaspora. You find that story also on page 3 of the Nigerian News Direct newspaper this morning. Insecurity, bandits adopt 40 worshippers from Kaduna Church, 15 escape. That's actually a good one. Amid cash crunch, international breweries suffers 2.3 billion naira loss in first quarter. You also find that story on the front page of Nigerian News Direct newspaper this morning. I think these are the news making waves coming from the News Direct.
This story: FCC seek extradition of brothers, one other to US over child exploitation pornography. They should be dealt with. You don't involve children in such things.
Yeah.
Adult fine, but not children.
Children.
And then this, I'm thinking of this main headline. If this 10th assembly leadership, I think these people they should
Allow Tinubu.
I think if they don't do this right, we're going to have another major crisis in this country.
Another
These are the
or
lawmakers
8
we're talking
years
about.
major crisis. It's very important. They should get it right. I don't know how they're zoning it, but then it should be.
Yes,
done
and
right.
just before we wrap up the newspaper review segment, please, security agencies, do well to put your torchlight in Kaduna or the neighboring state. These people are going through a lot. Going to church again is problem. Staying in your house is problem. Walking on the street is problem. So what are they supposed to do? Please, 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 the government should do something about this. I feel for these people in Kaduna. I feel for people in Benue State.
Yeah.
Look at Niger State. Look at Kogi. What is going on? I feel like the security agencies are not doing enough. You cannot. I have said this over time. If you know that Kaduna, Benue, Niger, Kogi are suffering the most, then put more securities there. and not just coming staying in Abuja here. No, they should go to these states and do what they have to do. How can people go to church, be in their homes anywhere, and bandits just come and carry them away and come and be demanding money or kill them? This is not right, and it's not fair on these people either. We're in Abuja, we're not feeling it, but at least sometimes when we read this news, it's heartbreaking. I feel for the people there.
Is keeping it in Abuja just the other day in the news.
Yes, just even yesterday.
Yes, it's creeping.
It's really sad. Please, security agencies and government, if you know, if you're watching us and you're the government, or you know somebody close to them, the security agency, they should do the needful. Please, for the life of every Nigerian matters. Please, we'll go on a quick break. That's a good place to wrap up the newspaper segment review. We'll go on a quick break, and now when we return, I'll be coming back with a guest. Don't go anywhere. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Everything happens for a reason. Everything happens for a reason. Bless life from a different prison. Bless a lot of people locked up in bedtimes 7 o'clock.
What's up, y'all? It's your boy Ice Prince Amani.
Ginger, aka Swagga Swagga. My name now is Femi, aka the Music and Taliban.
What up, Nigeria? K to the O to the NGA Conga.
Afrobeat Night.
Afrobeat Night. The Afrobeat Night.
Afrobeat Night.
Nigerian Week in London.
The Nigerian Week.
The Nigerian Week. The Nigerian Week.
On the 19th of this beautiful month of May 2023.
May 19th.
May 19, 2023. Let's go get your ticket.
Go get your ticket because we're gonna shut it down.
Ice Prince Amani's in the building.
Yeah.
Go get your tickets. If you don't get your tickets, now you sabi.
Okay, I'm back with a flow, no joke.
Ice Prince.
Yeah. Ice Prince.
Okay, my people, it could not be better than this. The Nigerian Week in London 2023 got you covered to the extent that you can get a free ticket to the event. And this is all you need to do. Go to the Google Play Store and download TapTap app. Send as low as £1 to the account in Nigeria using SRTV as your transaction code. Screenshot your transaction and send to 447-459-513619 or email it to event@superiorradioandtelevision.com and the ticket will be sent to you ASAP. This is powered by SRTV London and TapTap Send. You already know what time it is. Your boy Ice Prince Amani. I can't wait to ride.
Okay, it's so exciting. The game's been dark, but I'm igniting. Positive flow, I'm so attracting. Where the freestyles or even writing.
Educational consultants. Good morning, sir.
Yeah, good morning.
How are you this morning? Yes, there was quickly now. There was a report the other day about 70% of teachers, private school teachers, being unqualified quacks. Now, what's your take on this? Hello, can you hear me? Hello, are you there?
I think we have a network issue.
Yeah, they can hear you now. I missed you before.
All right, I saw the report that says over 70% of private school teachers were having a little bit of network issues this morning.
Well,
Can you hear me now?
Yes, but I think your network is not very strong where you are.
No, I've switched to another network, so it's fine now.
All right, so there's this report that says 70% of private school teachers, especially in the Southwest, are unqualified to teach, and of course are quacks as well. Now, what's your take on this as educational consultants?
Okay, on a personal note, I don't know where they got that stats from.
Okay.
I do not agree on that. And when they are saying Southwest,
Yeah,
Southwest is a place where education, even, will I say, to an extent originated from. Because if you are looking at the number of people that probably spend all to get educated, is the Southwest in the first place. I do not want to be biased to mention any, to start calling out different regions, Okay, so that's one part of it. Then secondly, 70%, I'm still not so okay with that. What I may state that you have is a case where, because 70% is a high number.
Is a high number, yes. And that is why I brought you on the show today, because it's quite high, the numbers, the percentage.
Yes, because whether we like it or not, when you say a school is private, they pay a lot for the education. And in paying a lot for the education, you find out that to an extent there is much expectation. Like to whom much is given, much is expected. So with that high expectations, and my experience of as an educational consultant, I know that there are times where schools put demands on the kind of teachers they want and all that. You understand? So there's that. So as I said, it's very possible that we have quack teachers in private schools, but that 70% is what I totally disagree until I'm able to see good evidence in it. Now, what you may actually have is a case of where a lot of people that are teaching do not desire to actually be teaching.
Okay.
So if you tell me that, yes. So if you tell me that you have 70% of people that just found their way in the teaching world, in the sense that they just have to and all that, or they are not enjoying their job, that I will agree with. So because what happens is that you have TRC, which has also tried to sanitize the system. So and
these reports came from them as well.
Yes.
You said?
And these reports came from them as well, that body.
The report came in from there.
Yes.
Well, anybody can put any report. So as I said, until I'm able to see that strong evidence on why they put that 70%, because let's not forget that they can also put that statement there to be able to sell themselves out on why they are that relevant. We should not forget that aspect of it. So 70%. Where did they get that data from? How did they get? Because I personally doubt from my experience of acquiring. Now, what happens at times is that we do not have a proper educational system that even educates the teachers.
Okay.
So, like for example, now you have a case of where if you want to study medicine, you must be having grades like A's and B's. In fact, to an extent, your wife may be 10 A's and probably 1 or 2 B's. If I do that, B will look like a stain to your result.
Okay.
If you want to employ a teacher, they'll tell you that if you're going to Department of Education, you can use a minimum of 4 C's. That is already watering the standard. So how can a set of people that seem to be among the failures of WAEC now become the teachers of tomorrow? These are the things that I know that may have happened when there's not enough resources that is invested in educating the teachers properly.
Okay.
Because when you say a teacher, or when you say a teacher has a hierarchy. Like if you go to the monarchs, the royalties of different worlds, they put people who are called tutors to tutor their kids. When you talk about the lives of Socrates, when you talk about the lives of Aristotle, Plato, these were people that were brought out to educate. So their ranking was basically hierarchy, so that not only are they not aware of the subject matter, they are aware of, or they play out something about knowing something about everything and everything about something. So the thing is that we've not invested much value. When you say someone is a teacher, you're supposed to have at least be abreasted with certain things, with be enlightened. He doesn't need to know even everything, but he should be enlightened to an extent. He should be able to engage and discuss at different levels.
Okay.
Then you find out that a parent will be happy when the child is around the teacher, because you know that the teacher can learn a lot. So what I will state is that I do not believe that I believe where the problem is that we've not had so much value, substance into the educational system. That is where the problem is from.
Okay, now the body, yes, because the body says Teachers Registration Council of Nigeria, TRCN. That is the body, and it says that the 70% are not qualified, and they've discovered that these people are not even registered to this body as well. They are unknown as well. Now, don't forget also, I want to differ on that opinion, because sometimes most of these private school teachers, like you said, The children, they pay a lot of fees. The parents pay through their noses just to get the best education for the kids. And at the end of the day, just maybe the school owners are not willing to spend much. Then they will go and bring people that are not up to standard. Yeah. And my fear here is this, Mr. Efe. My fear here is this, that at this stage, if we are not able to impact the rightful knowledge into these kids, at what point do we now impact them?
As I've said, I've never disputed what you said by saying whether they don't have quack teacher. It is the ratings. Do you know what 70% means?
It's a lot, and that is why I brought you on the show today. It's a lot, it's high and it's caring. Of course, that's why I brought you on the show today.
As I said, maybe to an extent, the mistake I'm making is using, once I hear Southwest, I'm thinking more of the likes of Lagos. If you want to now start going to the rural areas, okay, so maybe I would agree with you.
We're even talking about Nigeria, but it's just that it's higher there. Yeah. So we're looking at the country. You disagree?
Do you know the educational system in the north? When we talk about the amateurs and co, do you know how many people that in some of the northern places they don't even teach in English? How do you call Southwest that is more or less like the
the gurus?
So they say people in the north. Are they saying people in the north
are more qualified? Yes.
More than 30% of the teachers in the north are qualified. I think that statement is not accurate.
It's not accurate.
When we're talking about admissions into universities, which regions do we consider low scores? Which regions do we consider high scores? We consider people from Southwest to have higher scores than people in the north. So where do you get that? So who taught those kids that used to have those kind of high scores in admissions? How many people do you see, when you're talking about the best in JAM, how many people do you see that comes from the north? When you talk about the best WAEC, how many people do you see that comes from the north? These things are dead. It is realistic. And I stand to be corrected. So that this thing saying it is in the southwest, I totally disagree on that.
Okay. Would you have agreed? Would you have agreed if they had said it's from the north? 70%, because I feel you have a problem with the fact that it's south.
I'm even from the south, so I care less about whatever thing. What we must understand is that the not having those figures, in my own assumption or in my own opinion, doesn't mean that they are less of value. It is just the reality I'm trying to pick out. You understand? Because it doesn't make them less educated and all. It's just because of we make a mistake to think that schooling is education. That is the mistake we make. Because whether you like it or not, the Norths are very set of smart people. Because these are people in the if you think these guys are not smart, go and try and carry one cow from the beginning of your street to the ending of your street. It takes an educated person to take about 4 cows to move from one long distance to
another.
You understand? And education goes beyond I went to school to study maths and English. It's about your awareness, your development of skills, your development of knowledge, so that you can become independent and impact society. If all those cows are not available today, we will not have meat to eat.
That is true.
But the reality is you cannot tell me that the North has more than 40% of qualified teachers. That is even when don't you have coppers who are friends that you served in the North? What are their feedbacks? Let's throw questionnaires there and see and do some. And that's why I feel that some of these surveyors, I wish some of these surveyors are independent. How did they get that number? Southwest.
And I am thinking also, Mr. Ife, that this could be a result of a lot of teachers, especially the private school teachers. I think they've never been exposed to trainings, and they are using outdated equipment for illustrations here and there. What's your take?
Well, that is a Nigerian factor. That is a Nigerian factor where if we are still debating how much should be the price for budget, resources will not fall from the sky. That is a truth. That is a truth we must face. Like, for example, now we talk about at times the government comes to say, oh, the youth should go into agriculture, one thing or the other. But when you are putting a picture of youth in agriculture, you'll be seeing a old person, or we like call a person that is not looking happy and is carrying his hoe to farm. But if you are talking about doctor, which becomes with a prestige, you see someone with a suit, with a young charming guy smiling and all that. So we don't even set our values right. We don't set our priorities right. That is a big issue. So those resources can only come when we invest in education, when we begin to look at human capacity and resources. What we don't understand is that if you don't invest in education, in fact now, what you invest in now is politics, which is another day's topic. So those resources are not available. Those resources are not used because it is not invested in. We're still arguing about budgeting and all that. So is what I won't agree in.
Okay.
That it just has to do what you make available to them. That's what they want to use.
So
until we begin to change the value system, imagine a case where 25,000 people can apply for medicine in University of Ibadan, and they take 3,000. See, we start having education at that level where you must have like to be an educator or a teacher, you must have at least nothing less than 7 credits until we start upgrading the stats.
Yes, that is another thing I wanted to even ask you on, because we feel like they just feel like teachers are nobody. They look down on them in the society where we live in today. But funny enough, they are the ones to impact. Even they are the ones to teach the doctors, the lawyers, the bankers, the journalists. So we're supposed to have more qualified teacher than any other profession, if you ask me.
The Department of Education is like a dumping site.
It's really sad.
Why you study education? They don't give me the course where I want.
Yes.
It's a dumping site.
It is true.
So you have a place that is dumped. Oh, this person had only 3 credits. At the end of the day, as he had 3 credits, he's going to now, what do you call it now? He has only 3 credits. He cannot pass and go and study because he wants to study. Then he now goes to education. Education says, we can receive you. Just 3 credits now, no problem. We'll receive you or whatever thing. You understand? So, you don't.
Wow, we lost him there. That call.
And you were saying something
there's something very serious.
Yeah.
Now, these are some of the issues when we talk about education, the system here in Nigeria.
Comment he made about education being like a dumping site. I would really
I agree to that. Even way back from my school, that is the worst one. If you apply for a course and you're not able to get it, the next thing you will not start going to education and you take you in. So I think there's a need. There's a question I wanted to ask him, but we lost that call. There's a need to even sanitize the educational system. When we talk about lawyers, when we talk about doctors, bankers, talk about every other profession.
How high they rate those people.
Yes, why is it that the lecturers and the teachers are being looked down upon? Meanwhile, they are the ones that still tutor these people, that made the lawyers, that made the doctors, and that made all this profession. It's really sad.
And I think one of the issues we're having about these unqualified teachers, you see, most of coppers, when they come out from, when they are done with their service, they tend to look for job a lot.
Okay, we have him on the call back. Hello, Mr. Ife, welcome back.
Okay, so I didn't know I'd already missed you.
Oh, sorry. So, yes, you were saying something. So, at this point, what do you think we do? Because it's really, I feel the brunt. It's painful that education, like you said, the departments across all universities have become a dumping site for people that are not able to make it to other courses. They go there reluctantly. And funny enough, it is from this teachers, lecturer that even tutor doctors, all the professionals we have, and still the society will still look down on them. So what do you think we can do? How do we even sanitize the system?
Our value system needs to change. We have a bad value system. Then secondly, we need to redefine what education is. Education has been defined over the years as having something to get a job. And that's what has made most of us jobless. So that definition of what education is, and we must understand that schooling is not education, education is not schooling. Schooling ends when you get your certificate. Education ends when you die.
Okay,
So
I love that.
These are barriers to now to us prioritizing what it is. Because if we define education as a way of making society important, education as you are acquiring knowledge, you are acquiring skills, and so that you become independent and provide solutions to the environment. So it's just like where you are going to be providing your solution, you will not be investing your money in it. So if, for example, now you say that this chicken is going to be producing egg for me, and you consistently produce egg for me, then you will not do it. So because we have not defined education, we have not seen education as, it's to provide solution to make our society better. That is why we have not invested rightly on it. We still see it as schooling. Get this thing, get the certificate, and get the job, and you are fine. So that's what we need to change our priorities. Then we need to redefine education to what it is. And I think after we do that, I think we should be on our way to the promised land.
Okay, but just before we let you go, Mr. Ife, I'm thinking also that don't you think it will be all the best that when we have talking about private schools, government school teachers, we have strictly people that are professionals to teach these kids, because sometimes you see in a situation somebody just come out, open 2 rooms, open a school, and they can bring in their daughters as teacher, their wives as teacher. I've seen a school like that where practically every member of the family works there. They are the teachers. And now you see also that sometimes they are not able to pay qualified teachers, and they just come and bring people, even WAEC holders, school start holder. They just come and say, okay, teach this primary 5, teach this JSS 1. So don't you think also there's a need for school owners, for bodies to look into this critically? Like you said earlier on the show also, that a lot of people just go and teach because maybe they don't have job or they just want to teach.
She said it's true. Yeah, what you said is true. But it's just like the same way you say hospitals. Hospitals only comply when you have regulatory officers on their neck. If you have regulatory officers on their neck, at the end of the day, they will do the right thing. You understand? So what may happen is that some of these regulatory officers come to supervise your school. Before you know it, they are not saying this, they are not saying that, and it goes back to corruption. So if the school owner finds something for them, they now decide to look the other way. Sorry. They decide to look the other way, and at the end of the day, it's an issue. So yes, we need to be able to, but if there's no law enforcement, it's to an extent, laws may not be complied with.
That is true.
So depending on the private, let me tell you something. School owners, there are 2 types. You have entrepreneurs and you have educators.
That is right.
Entrepreneurs may not think this way you are thinking.
That is true.
Yes, so it's just like the same way a doctor that owns a hospital is different from a businessman that owns a hospital.
That is true.
You cannot get the same result.
That is correct.
It take extra diligence for the entrepreneur who owns the hospital to now allow the right people work. Because for example, as a consultant, I've met different type of school owners. I met a school owner that practically was concerned about the building of the school. Even if she was a prestigious woman in society, she was ready to go for a postgraduate diploma in education, and he was ready to listen to everyone that contributed positively to the discussions.
Wow.
You understand?
Yes.
So those are things there. Those are the type of people you may have. You have an entrepreneur and you have an educator as school owners. So till we sanitize this regulation, till we enforce compliance, don't expect compliance to just come from the sky.
Well, I've been on the show with Ife Ame. He's an educational consultant. He has been in that system, anything education, for decades now. Of course, he's a professional. Thank you so much, sir, for being on the show this morning with us. We appreciate your time.
You're welcome. Okay. Thank you.
Have a nice day, sir.
You too. Bye.
Do well to subscribe to our page, sir.
Okay, no problem. I'll do just that.
All right. Have a nice day, sir. Yes, I've been on call. We've been speaking with Efe Ame. He's educational consultant. I know that he has been in that education.
And he has really spoken well. I think he just spoke my mind, everything. Because truly, if you ask me, the fact, let's even draw on that fact that people just study that course when they didn't get what they want.
Reluctantly, that's the word.
It even boils down to job. People look for job. Maybe
the next available job is one private school like that. Yes,
you and start
teaching.
Start from anywhere, and these are where the problem starts from. That's how we get to get unqualified teachers, people that cannot even speak clean English.
Coming to talk to the children. And my point in all this is that at this early age, if you are not able to impact the right knowledge on these children, it will be difficult for them when they begin to grow.
Yes.
And at that point, when they go to high institution, they start struggling. Things they should have been impacted on, they will not start learning them at that stage. And I think it's not right. Anyway, we've had him, and I hope that the body, school owners, school teachers will do the needful. Sometimes, it's not about, and I love that word that he said, there are two types of school owners. We have educationalists and we have entrepreneurs that just want to come and make the money and go. They don't care. Like I met somebody recently that is I think the man is having so much money. He's an engineer, but there he has a passion for the media, so he wants to open a media house. So I understand exactly what he just said.
Yes.
Now, this kind of person is somebody that is a media person that studied the course. They can never be the same.
Yes,
it's two different things. Anyway, thank God for that clarifications from him. And that's all we can take today, viewers. It's been a fun ride. Thank you so much for being part of the show. Just before we go, don't forget our Nigerian Week London that is fast approaching. It's just hours to that event. We're excited. Please do where to get your stand, get your ticket, and of course attend that event. We have a lot of celebrities, ministries, agencies, superstars that will be turning up, and of course also we go in there to showcase our food, our music, our films, our people, our culture to the world. It's going to be fun. Don't be left out. Of course, don't forget the business parts of it as well. And also where you're at there, stay safe, be at alert, drive carefully. Now you have to be at, I don't know where you're watching us from, especially those from Kaduna, Benue, Niger, Kogi. Please be at alert where you go out. Stay safe out there. Drivers also drive carefully, obey the traffic laws, and know that your life and the life of others matters.
Talking about
as
that,
well.
Princess, on my way home yesterday, you wouldn't want to see the accident I witnessed.
Are you serious?
I'm serious. I think drivers really need to be very careful. This is rainy season, and the rain was heavy.
It's heavy.
You need to see the two cars were literally in the gutter. They clashed. It's only by the grace of God that the drivers survived. It's a very terrible one. And even the car I entered, his this stuff that cleans the glass wiper is actually it's not working. I was so mad. I was so pissed at him. He was driving in the rain as heavy as that, and
these are the issues. And then you start struggling cleaning, cleaning, toilet to clean, and you're driving. That is endangering the lives of your life and the lives of others. Drivers, please, it's rainy season. Do well, and if you know you cannot see very well at night, do well to drive home on time, and don't drive under rains if you cannot. For me, I do not drive under rain. You can see that she left me here yesterday. I was here. I left the office very late because the rain was so heavy. I had to wait for that rain to stop because I can't see very well on the rain. So please, we are appealing to drivers to drive carefully, obey traffic, be peaceful with fellow drivers. Other drivers, you cannot just come and say, "Oh, I am the what's it called, Fast and Furious." It's rainy season. Nobody's giving you a award for driving fast or for arriving first. Please do well to drive carefully because of other people you're carrying. Even if you don't care about yourself, at least there are other people also using the roads. Please, and just before we go, let me wish you again happy birthday. Let let me sing for you before we go. Happy birthday to you.
Hey.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, happy birthday. Happy birthday to you.
Hey.
May the good Lord bless you.
Amen.
May the good Lord bless you.
Amen.
May the good Lord bless you. May the good Lord bless you. Hip, 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 hooray. Happy birthday. Many, many more years we pray for you. And of course, we don't forget to thank the people behind the cameras, the crew. So the lady, beautiful lady, and the beautiful guys, we say thank you. We appreciate you. Even the crew in London, thank you for all you do. We appreciate you. Do have yourself a very lovely day. We do this again tomorrow, hopefully. I remain yours truly, Princess KESSY.
And I am Patience OKOSUN.
Remember,
Peace is priceless.
so let's give peace a chance. See you tomorrow.
Everything happens for a reason. Bless life from a different prison. Bless a lot of people locked up in bedtimes, 7 o'clock.
What's up, y'all?